How can you manage your salon? How can you make informed business decisions if you don't have accurate numbers that are in front of you in a timely manner that you can understand? You just can't. So you're operating in the dark. So you're just behind. You're already losing if you don't have that.
I'm so excited to be joined today by our guest, Ross Loveland. He has a background in finance and then turned salon owner in 2018, now sharing his passion for leading salons to profitability with his True Profit Salons bookkeeping business. Thank you for joining us today, Ross.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather. So happy to be here.
Yeah, I was pleased to be introduced to Ross through a friend in the industry. And honestly, I wish I'd met him 5 years ago 4 years ago when I bought my salon. First of all, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I know that your background is in finance, that you were working in a corporate space, working with other business owners, presenting to the board, making sure that they understood their profit and so forth. That's a really big jump from that industry to the salon. Did you begin working with salon owners in your bookkeeping business first, or did you begin by owning a salon and realizing so many of the salon owners out there don't know what they're doing with their books? What came first?
Yeah, it was almost like a half step of I did get the opportunity to work with a couple of salons first, early on, and they were amazing to work with. Then owned this salon, and I started to get really good inside knowledge, started to speak the language better, and that led to more clients, more opportunities to work with salon owners. And then about 4 years ago, I was like, these people are amazing. I love the work they were doing. I love the results we're getting, the personality and the drive that they bring. So I'm going to go all in. And so that's what we've been doing, all in on this amazing beauty industry.
I love that. Now, with the beauty industry niche specifically, how long has that been your focus?
About those 4 years. Yeah. So at that time, I was like, we're going to divert all our marketing efforts towards this industry. We'll keep working with our legacy clients, but since then, 95% of our growth is salons, nail parlors, spas. You got it. So.
And you mentioned the energy, you mentioned the drive in this space. What else about it has made it unique? I mean, I understand being from the industry my whole life. Since I was 18, being in a salon. Tell me, as someone with a finance background, I'm going to say a little bit more serious, probably stuffy and corporate. What drew you to the salon space? What made you feel connected with these people coming from an office and probably a pressed white shirt with a suit coat?
Luckily for me, when I was in corporate finance, I did not have to have that kind of dress code. I got
Wonderful.
a t-shirt, and that fits my personality a lot better. What drew me to this industry was, one, the drive. And then the second thing is, with saloners, I've really found this ability and willingness to recognize what they don't know. Almost a humility to be like, hey, this is not my strength. Numbers maybe isn't my thing. I'm going to get some support and some help. I'm going to follow the steps. I'm going to implement because I have this drive. And then that has just been an amazing pairing that has led to great results.
I love it. We were talking about people specifically who are teachable, who are coachable, who are open to what you have to offer, which I think is massive. I personally love the industry, being brought up in it. Clearly, I have an affinity toward it, but I have seen what you referenced, just amazing people who want to lift each other. And I'm so overwhelmed by the goodness and the collaboration that I find in this industry. So I think it's excellent. And it's always beautiful to have people from outside the industry join us and bring their expertise and insight, because Lord knows we need it. Right?
Well, I love what you're saying about the industry. I'm going to jump in here.
Yeah.
I also just have this really strong belief that salons and other beauty businesses bring so much good. Like, they're providing jobs, they're creating these safe spaces, helping people feel better about themselves, lifting up their local economies, being pillars in their community. I just feel like these businesses really are powerful and impactful. So if I have the opportunity to work with them and to serve them and to help them, it's a great honor for me. I love it.
That's amazing. And it's nice to work with people who get it and who see it. Whatever possessed you to purchase a salon in the first place?
Yeah. I've always been entrepreneurial. So I started to build a business on the side, and it wasn't to a point yet where I could support my family. So my wife at the time and I were looking at different businesses, and we're like, hey, she has her cosmetology license. Let's buy a salon. Let's move across the country. and see what happens. So we
Okay.
did that. We
That's
lived
pretty
in my,
brave.
it was, and we had 5 kids at the time, and we
Oh my
lived in my
gosh.
parents' basement, and it was insane. And I left a job that was amazing, paid well, had incredible benefits. So I'm sure most people looking at us would have been like, "You're nuts. Why are you doing this?" But it was one of the best decisions of my life.
Where did you move from? Where were you living? And then you
Madison,
transplanted.
Wisconsin to Portland, Oregon.
Okay. And five children, all girls.
All
And
girls.
you took all these beautiful girls and you crammed them into a basement, first in probably a moving truck and then into a basement. And what a leap of faith and confidence. I think that's incredible. Um, how long from that time until you really feel like you got your head around what it was like to own a salon, running that business personally?
Sure. I will say one of the things that was a big turning point for me for the salon and for the bookkeeping business that eventually became True Profit Salons was my discovery of the Profit First system. So this
Yes.
is a cash management system. We can talk more about that in a minute. That I started to implement, and it started to give me some really powerful results. And within 6 months, we moved out of my parents' basement, and the salon started to perform well, and my business was growing. So that was a huge part of that transition and being like, okay, this wasn't super stupid. We're not just failing. We're not going to be stuck in my parents' basement forever.
I love that you're willing to share this. I'm going to say I would agree with anybody who thought you were crazy. That was
Yeah.
crazy. Absolutely. And the line between genius and madness is very blurred, as most of us artists are well acquainted.
Yes.
What I think is excellent about that, though, is that you had something like you mentioned, it was established, it was thriving in your career. You had benefits, you had all these things going for you, but you knew there was something more for you as an entrepreneur. And that's who we love to talk to on Brazen and Bold. I love to hear from people who have a big idea. You did something very brazen and very bold and probably freaked you out, probably freaked anybody who watched you out. And you're
Hmm.
here surviving, thriving, and living to tell the tale, now impacting the lives of many other business owners, specifically in the salon space, so positively thanks to that leap. It takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. Tell me what, you said you always wanted to be one, or you always had that mindset of an entrepreneur. What has been the biggest challenge and the biggest blessing in your life because of that drive as an entrepreneur?
Sure. I would say the biggest challenge has been like maintaining that faith and that confidence while you're building something. Like that's so
Mhm.
hard. Like it can be so easy to get into our heads, to doubt ourselves, to have imposter syndrome. Like who am I to think that I can do this? Why did I make that leap? Right? It's so
Everybody
common.
listening who relates to this, please raise your hand, but keep your hands on the steering wheel. Yeah, all of us. All of us.
Right. For sure. But we just have to keep showing up. We have to keep believing in ourselves and having that faith that things will work out. And so, for sure, the biggest challenge for me. And to add maybe like a little bit of seriousness to that story of me, like a joke about living in my parents' basement and we had 5 kids and we were insane. It was actually a really hard time for me. Like I fell into depression and I really struggled. And I was like, what is happening? Like I thought this was going to be amazing. Like things were growing, but not at the level I was hoping for and trying to
Mhm.
find my way. And so the life of a business owner is an emotional roller coaster. Even now, with what I've established and built, like it's so much more stable, but there are still ups and downs. Like you can have these days where you're like, I am killing it. I'm gonna like be building my empire so soon and have like 15 businesses and whatever. And the next day you're like, I'm gonna be bankrupt. Like I'm not gonna make it. And whether that's the reality or not, like we just feel that we're so
Mhm.
invested in what we do. So I'll say that's the biggest challenge.
That's funny you mention it, Ross. I was in the fetal position sobbing my eyes out 2 months ago. For those of you, the time of this recording is June 6th, 2025. And that is a true story. We're going to hold on. Do you mind sitting there? I have a favorite shirt that my best friend bought me that I wear when I travel and I am on a plane almost every week. We're going for it, right? We're going for it, Ross. Bear with me. And this
Yeah, I'm
shirt is the
excited.
truest shirt. This is the truest shirt I've ever worn. I actually changed out of it to
Oh,
get ready for our podcast because I flew in.
that's
I
cool.
cried today. Let me tell you, this shirt is true more days than not as an entrepreneur, as a human being who wants to make room for everyone to feel their feelings fully without any shame. So I think I need to mail you one of these shirts, but the I Cried Today shirt. And you know what's wild about it? I get stopped at the airport more times than I can explain to you. Yesterday, it led to three beautiful, organic, connected conversations.
Oh, cool.
One of the people said, I said, tell me why. And they said they were happy tears. One of my colleagues shared something. And I was laughing so hard. And it was like the cutest moment to connect with that person about their happy tears. And then somebody else goes, I mean, I'm just walking by and somebody at TSA goes, me too. And I said, you okay? She's like, I'm going to be. And I said, do you want a hug? She goes, yes. I mean, a stranger at this moment, I connected. I gave her a big hug. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. And I keep going through security. I mean, these little moments, because I'm wearing a shirt that tells the truth, which is that I cried today. Yesterday, it wasn't actually true. But Ross, you sharing that does something that breaks open a moment of humanity. And I know that if I was listening to this and heard this from you, because what I see is the successful version who presents well, I would be heartened and encouraged to know that those moments where I feel like I can't, in your case, get out of the basement literally, or off the floor, or in my case, 2 months ago, out of the fetal position because I'm having a panic attack, because it is no joke to own your own business or to be an entrepreneur. And if you're listening to this and you can't relate, please write in to the podcast, text, email, find me on Instagram and tell me your secrets, because I want to interview you if you haven't had those ups and downs. All right. But truthfully, it's a dirty side, a dark side that a lot of humans don't want to really talk about. And it's so critical. So Ross, I know that I just sidebarred that pretty big, but I want to thank you for that, because it is powerful. And I think any entrepreneur, salon owner, or business owner listening to this, if you're in that moment yourself, you are not alone. And you might see somebody from stage accepting an award or being on the cover of a magazine and like, wow, they've got it together. I've had people say that to me, like, how do you have it all together? And I'm like, are you kidding? Do you not know who I am? So anyway, Ross, thank you for that. Thank you. Tell me,
You're welcome.
that was one of the biggest challenges, and that's real. And it's, again, something else I like that you explain is it's not linear. It's not like that was a hard few years and now I'm here. It's a
Right, I
roller
made
coaster.
it.
It's look at me, I'm done. So cute, I'm done. But what is one of the biggest blessings that you have found from this calling and this drive to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah. The biggest blessing for me is being an employer. I absolutely love being a leader of other people, knowing that I'm
Mm.
providing the lifestyle for all these different families. That is, to me, a huge blessing and a huge responsibility. I take it really seriously. But I feel really honored to be able to do that and to be able to have that impact and to, you know, have these people and trust their work. We spend most of our waking time working. And so that's like a huge part of our lives. So
Yeah.
I love that aspect of being a business owner.
That is a huge blessing. There's been times where I was afraid I wouldn't be able to pay my own bills, or I frankly didn't. And having the moment of looking at a beautiful team of, in my case, it's almost all women who are able to help support their families in a way that works for them in a safe, compassionate environment where they're excelling and they're being held and their education is kept at mind and their own personal career growth. When I look at that, I mean, we're not running a charity as business owners. We're not, even sometimes if it feels like that as a salon owner, when we don't have profit first in mind, it can be really daunting. But when we look at those beautiful connection points and the things that we're actually able to do in our community, I think that is one of the things that does keep us going. That's awesome. Thank you, Ross. You've been in a million salons, or rather a lot of salons. You've had your hands in a lot of books. You've seen a lot of the back end.
Yep.
You've probably seen some that are run well, and you've probably seen some that would make even your most basic accounting student also crawl into the fetal position and don their I Cried Today sweater. Tell me, Ross, what is one thing, and this is a hard one, but one money mistake that you would love to see? Like, this happens in so many salons. If I could change one thing about the money mistake in salons, what would that be?
So I talk about what I call the 5 pillars of salon success. And the
Hmm.
very first pillar is financial clarity, which really means you've got your numbers in a place where they're accurate, they're timely, and they're understandable. If
Okay.
every salon could have numbers that were accurate, timely, and understandable, that would change so many things. One of the very first things that we do when a salon comes to us to work with us is we do an assessment on their books. We literally call it the financial clarity assessment. And we look at those 3 things: accurate, timely, understandable. And the vast majority of the time, there's a lot of work to be done. It
Okay.
is the exception, not the norm, for numbers to be in a good place. And so how can you manage your salon? How can you make informed business decisions if you don't have accurate numbers that are in front of you in a timely manner that you can understand? You just can't. So you're operating in the dark. So you're just behind. You're already losing if you don't have that.
Yeah. And you mentioned working with first becoming familiar with the profit first model in your own business and beginning to implement it. What exposed you to the profit first model, and what about it inspired you? Like, there's a lot of people listening who have no idea what that is. So, hey, I'm a new listener. I don't know what profit first is. Who's this Ross guy? What is he talking about? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I stumbled on the book. So Profit First is a book written by Mike Michalowicz. Amazing business author. He has other books as well. That might be his most well-known or popular.
Okay.
So I found it. I read it. I was like, this is amazing. This speaks to me, and I'm going to try it. And so I did. So what is Profit First? Profit First is a way of managing our money from a really high level. Basically, as our money comes into our business, we're going to give our money a purpose. We're going to
Okay.
say this money is going to be for paying me. This money is going to be for taxes. This money is for running the business. And so we kind of allocate our money. If you're familiar with the envelope system, it's been made really popular by Dave Ramsey. We're on our personal finances. We kind of take our cash as it comes in, and we like, here's an envelope, and we put in some money for our groceries, and we put in some money for entertainment. We put in some money for utilities. It's the same principle. We're not doing it with cash. That would be very impractical for a business and very risky, I'm sure. But that's that idea of giving that money a purpose as it comes in. And the cool thing is, like, it all ties back to this beautiful human psychology principle called Parkinson's Law. So Parkinson's Law teaches us that we will use as much of a resource as we're given. So if we think about it, when we have one bank account in our business, all the money comes in. That's also what we're spending out of. We use it. That in our mind, that is the amount of money that we have to work with. And so we use it. We pay our people. We buy supplies. We buy product. We spend on advertising or travel or whatever it is. And there's not that much left at the end when we want to pay ourselves. And so what we're doing with Profit First is we're going to, again, separate that money into these different areas. So then the amount of money that we've set aside for running our business is now smaller. But Parkinson's Law, we use the amount of resources that we're given to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And so we make it work. Like, this principle is true in time, and it's true in money.
Yes. I usually say I didn't know it was called Parkinson's Law, but I would tell people if you have 2 weeks to plan a wedding or 5 years, you're going to take whatever time you have. And
Exactly.
this, so it's just very, you're going to use, if you've got $10 in your bank account or 100 million, you're going to probably use it. So separating it, it sounds like in that, and I can imagine the little envelopes, like this money goes to fun and this money goes to food, putting it in those little subcategories is going to help a business owner know like where each dollar is going before it even comes in. Basically, it's giving an assignment to your money, making your money work, right?
That's exactly right.
Tell me, and that's a great overview of what Profit First is. And this is applicable to all businesses. And you have taken that and then worked in the salon space specifically with it. Was there anybody who led you on that, coached you, or a place that you learned that skill set?
That, I would say, I learned from applying it to hundreds, now thousands of salons over years. So the principles are very true. They work in all businesses. And so I just started taking them and applying them to salons and learning the things that worked and the things that were different. And okay, in salons, we typically have a commission team that's a pretty high percentage of our money. So how do we handle that and our products, and what do we do with our tips? And so a lot of it has been experience and time in this industry.
And fine tuning it. And I've noticed a lot, especially in interviewing people on or off mic and camera, just in talking to people, because I joke my real intention in life, my goal, I should have been an interrogator, because I love getting to know people and what they produce and what they do and how they think and where they learned it and why they do it that way. And I'm just curious and inquisitive, but it can come across wrong. So this is why we just have a podcast. So now it's like socially acceptable for me to drill you and ask you questions and like imagine a low light, a dimly lit room, and a cigarette. And I'm like,
Mm,
tell me everything, Ross. Okay, so
right.
I love that. I love getting to know people's stories. But what I'm finding from the more and more people that I talk to and interview, um, on and off camera, is so many of the problems that are found in our industry are not solved with thinking within our industry. That same concept
Mm,
can also be cross applied to other industries as well. Usually, the kind of thinking, like all of us in this bubble or in this circle or in this kind of way, we don't always know what we don't know. And so, I think looking at something that is a true principle, like this profit first concept or model, that that principle that's applicable across disciplines can be used in any business, any type of commerce. And I think that's a really important place to learn, is looking at someone who's created something that works outside of the industry. What can we take from it? How can we apply it to our industry? And
right.
how can we make those improvements? And I think that's a really great example. And you worked on your own salon doing this and then started implementing it in others because you started that bookkeeping business. It was kind of like a concurrent journey of your bookkeeping business and your salon, that you own, and so keeping both those going. Tell me a little bit about the cash flow accelerator method. Give me a sneak peek about what that is, or a little insight into that principle.
Yeah. And I actually even just want to make a comment on what you were just saying about this industry and taking things from outside. And I think this is important, just like you said, in every industry. But I think particularly in this one, the principles of business management, bookkeeping, taxes, those are not taught in this industry. And like we
Mhm.
don't learn that in cosmetology school. And typically what happens is someone comes into the industry, they start working, and so everything they understand they learned from the business owner they worked under. How did they do things? Most of the time we don't realize that they're just struggling to get by too. And they
Right.
learned it from the person that they worked under, and they learned it from the person they worked under. And so there are a lot of these like financial myths and these ideas about money that don't actually serve us. That can get perpetuated in this industry.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
really happens.
And I think that stopping to listen to a podcast, read a book, hire a coach, find a mentor, reach out to a bookkeeper or accountant who has a specific skill set that you lack. Just knowing that you don't know something is huge, and then finding somebody who can help you learn it is the second piece. Like waving that white flag is one thing, but now going out there and finding out, now that we've surrendered and said, I need help, save me,
Right.
where are we going to
That's
find those
yeah.
resources?
That's a principle I talk about too. Is like we can recognize that we haven't been set up for success, and now it's our responsibility to go out and get what we need to be successful. We can't
Yeah.
just sit back and be like, "No, it's not my fault." Like that's a victim mentality, and we don't want to accept that.
No one taught me. Okay, like now what? Right?
Right.
So tell me a little bit then about this cash flow
Cash flow
accelerator
accelerator.
method.
Sure. Yeah. So when we talk about a cash flow accelerator, we're talking about how we help clients to really make some changes that are going to have a strong impact, usually in a small period of time, like 90 days. And so some of the things that we're going to hit on are the things we've talked about today. So financial clarity, we've got to get those numbers into place where they're accurate, timely, and organized. It is the foundation upon which we do all of our other work. So like I said, we have 5 pillars. Those other 4 pillars build on top of the financial clarity. So we do that. We start to implement profit first. And that means we're doing a profit first assessment on the business, finding out basically what level of lifestyle can it support for the owner? Like how much can it
Okay.
give the owner for pay? How much can it be helping with taxes? And then one of the principles of profit first is we want to get our business to a place where it's giving us some bonuses, like some quarterly
Hmm.
bonuses, serving us in that way. And so can it do that now, or are we going to start doing it on a small level and build up? So that's another piece that we put into place. And then typically we follow those two things with a really deep, it's like a profitability analysis. We look at your salon, we look at your expenses, and we compare you to the standard, like a benchmark that we've created from our own community because we work with a lot of salons. And it really highlights where are you off? Like, is your payroll high? How are you doing with your products? Are you traveling, spending way too much there? And then we can start to dive deep into those things. So we start to solve specific problems. Now we're getting into the details. Sometimes it's pricing, sometimes it's team, sometimes it's expense management. So kind of tag those things together, and it's pretty cool because some of the responses that we get from people afterwards are things like, it's like magic. All of a sudden I have more money, but I'm not doing anything. Like, I think I'm spending the same. Like, I feel like I'm doing the same amount of work, but there's just more money in my account. Like, I don't know what happened, but it's there.
Leave
So
it
it's
to
pretty
a hairstylist to say, this is magic. You're like, it's actually accounting. This is actually business. But truly, like, it feels like magic from what you're able to. You shout out some of the results that you've seen. When we spoke earlier, when I first met you,
yeah.
you were telling me some of the results that your salons are seeing within the first year of working with you, or even less time. Shout
Yeah.
it out because it's exciting.
Cool. Yeah, happy to. Yeah, we track this really closely, and that's actually a lot of where the name True Profit came from. Is this idea that we want to help salon owners achieve true profit, not just a number on a sheet, but actual
Hmm.
money that you feel. So one of
Yep.
the numbers that we track, of course, is profitability of your salon, and this is true of new clients and clients that have been with us for years. The average salon that worked with us last year improved their profits by $46,000. That's after paying for us because we're a business expense. And the year before, I think was 40. The year before was 55. Like, this is a consistent thing that we're able to do. Like, these are true time-tested principles. Like, we're not working magic. We're not doing quick fixes or hacks that look good for the moment and then don't serve you later. Like,
Thank
these are real
you.
things that set you up for success long term.
Sustainable actions that will invite success. So
Right.
between $40 and $55,000 every year is the average amount of money, extra money that your salons are keeping.
And that's
And that's
cumulative.
after
That's
they
what
pay, and
every
that's
year.
after they pay you. And
Correct.
it's worth noting that, like you said, your service is a business expense, and the price point you mentioned, there's multiple different tiers or levels of working with you. And you
Totally.
guys can feel free to hop over to his website and check out their different pricing and packages. But you can start kind of more entry level or go all the way up to really full side by side partnership where they're talking with you on a very regular basis. That it can't be inexpensive, but the fact is it's producing these results. So it's not even an expense. It's amazing to hear the
Yeah,
results you have.
I like to call it an investment because that is what it is. So
Mhm.
you spend money, but you get that return. And one of the cool things is that we found most of our clients that work with us are making or saving what they're paying us in about 3 or 4 months. So, like,
Amazing.
that's a pretty quick turnaround for an investment. So we're really proud of that. And we're proud of the salon owners that put in the work to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like the way that you work with salons, from what I know of your business, it's really partnering with them and helping invest in them as well. So the investment goes two ways. And I mean, anybody who's been around this industry or been to a trade show or talked to different types of coaches, there are all kinds of people in the industry. And I definitely won't, I'm not thinking of anybody specifically, but there's people who will be happy to take your money and the deliverable results on the back end aren't there. The follow through isn't there. And when you work with someone like Ross and your team, they really do see somebody who cares and partners. And I think this is a perfect time to ask you a little bit about, something that you reference and talk about is how much your values and your ethics guide your decision making and your business. Tell me a little bit about that and how it helps build trust in your clients and in your community that you work with.
I just feel like, especially in this industry, like you just said, there are so many options, so many different vendors. We love going to events. There's always so many booths, so many different people to talk to. I think those that can be really authentic, that can lead from their values, stand out. Like, that can be the difference maker.
Yeah, and
And
if your values suck, don't lead with them. Just so you know, like if your values are like self-serving and crushing people to get to the top, like don't lead with those
like my
values. But
business on the seat, yeah, right. Like,
my
it's
pillars are take them for all they're worth and leave them high and dry. Yeah, not those values.
right for
Your
sure.
sincerity translates though, and the people from your team that I've met, that also is translated. And it sounds like that's something that you really take seriously in how you lead.
Yeah, that is really important to us. And like, we look at it when we, so for us, for me, when I looked at this industry and I looked at how it paired with kind of industry I came from, accounting and finance, what I saw was most accounting and bookkeeping professionals are providing minimal service. It's just like compliance oriented. The accuracy
Mhm.
is not great. The partnership isn't there, and the communication sucks. Like, that's one of the worst parts. And so,
Yeah.
as a team, we're like, hey, we want to build something amazing. We want to serve this industry. What are the things that we believe in that we think we can bring? And so, our very first core value that we created as a team is communication. And so, again, accounting and finance, tax, not known for that. we feel like we've got
Funny,
to be
CPAs aren't known for that. Isn't that strange? We love all of our CPAs who listen and participate, but we don't understand you.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, they, there are certainly industry things that lead to that happening. Like we have CPAs and enrolled agents, tax people retiring. We don't have a lot of people coming into the industry, and so there are some reasons behind it. But to me, salon owners deserve the decency of getting some communication. Like that just feels like a human decency to me that we can provide just by putting some systems into place, by developing our services in a way. So again, that's our very first core value. Then we have other ones like empowered partnership. So just like you said, partner, like that word really is really powerful for us. And we talk about that internally a lot too. How do we be this partner? How do we guide our clients to these real results, to this true profit? And so again, we could be called CFOs or bookkeepers, or now we do taxes as well. But financial partner, I think, is what really describes us best, because we want to be in it with the salon owner. We want to work with them. We really believe in education. So that's another one of our pillars, our values as well. We want to teach you as the salon owner the principles of business management, the principles of finance, so that you can make the informed decisions in your business. You're the one that's seeing the things that are happening. You're the boots on the ground. So we just want to partner with you. We want to educate you and help you to be the best leader that you can be.
I mean, essentially taking that piece of, we didn't learn this in beauty school, and instead of rolling over and playing dead, being a resource to those people who partner with you, who invest in you, you invest back in them dually. And I've observed that from what I've learned about your business, and it's really impressive to me. And I think very empowering to see as well. Different business coaches that I've encountered along the way, when I talked to you the first time, I was like, that's actually what I've been looking for, but you actually provide another service in addition to that education piece, which is huge. If you have a salon owner listening today and they're like, that's nice, Ross, that's cute. You talk about clarity. Okay, but it's clarity. You name the three things we have to know our numbers, and I can't. So repeat it again.
They're
Accurate,
timely,
timely,
understandable.
and understandable. So that's the clarity piece. Okay. Accurate, timely, and understandable. I am D, none of the above. So I'm talking about in life in general. But no, let's talk about this. What are tips that, or even just one tip that you can give a salon owner to increase their clarity in their business numbers starting today?
So what I would always say to anyone is give your current bookkeeper a chance. So reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to meet with you. Can we set up a meeting and you help me know how I'm doing, where I'm at with my business? That will, one, test their communication and see if they really can respond and set something up with you. And then when you meet, you'll get a good sense of how well they actually understand your business and your industry. There are too many salon owners that are working with bookkeepers and accountants that just don't know this industry at all. And they're just treating them as if they were any other business that they work with. But that's not true. Like, salons are unique. They're different in a lot of ways. There are some bookkeepers and accountants out there that are great. So you might be able to do that. They might be able to set up a meeting with you, provide some good information, and that'll be awesome. Now you've got some clarity. Even if that doesn't happen, now you've got clarity on, like, how
I'm not the person for you.
They're in your
Perfect.
corner, right?
Cool.
So I think that is an amazing first step and requires some pretty minimal effort. Send them an email. Hey, I'd love to meet with you. Can you help me know where I'm at?
Okay, I love that, because it gives us two things, like you mentioned. It's going to give you the one we hope for, which is clarity about our numbers. And if that isn't produced, it gives you clarity that they're not the person to work for. And either way, that is an excellent first step that anybody listening right now this week can take in their business, especially if they're a salon owner. Okay, I love that. Well, I mean, what's your second step? If they're good, keep with them and work with them. And if they're not, hit your website up, probably.
Yeah, I would set up something recurring with them. Try to get a meeting with them. Hey, this was so helpful. Can we meet once a month? And try to get something on the calendar. And then again, if they're not, then hey, talk to us. We'd love to chat.
Hey, I like that. Tell me, you've mentioned that book that you picked up that made a difference to you when you owned your salon, the Profit First book. What is another book that you have read recently that's made a big impact, or a book that you find yourself referring back to over and over again that you think our listeners might enjoy hearing about?
That's such a good question. I love to read. There are a lot of books that come to mind for me. I just recently finished reading for the first time, and I feel like I should have read this a long time ago. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
If you're familiar, if you've read that. So
I know Napoleon Hill, but I haven't read that one.
The Think and Grow Rich author. And I just think the principles that it teaches in there about living life with purpose, and just being in harmony with different values, and I feel like I'm still processing that book. I literally just finished it
Okay.
yesterday.
Sounds excellent.
It is excellent. One that I come back to a lot that I've really enjoyed is a book called Essentialism. So
Okay.
Essentialism, I'm trying to remember the subtitle. It's like less is more, something like that. It's just about really, like, as salon owners, I think it's so applicable. We do 100 different things. That book is all about finding the few things that have the biggest value and getting rid of the rest, maybe by working with Heather and Spark to have a VA take some of those
You
things.
enter the Gene Wilder blinking his eyes in the in the gift. I'm like, you don't say who doesn't talk about delegate to dominate and how to find your zone of genius, zone of excellence. I love it. Okay, this is great.
But he
So
does talk about
essentialism.
he talks about delegation a lot, but he also just talks about other principles like the principle of trade-offs, or even just managing your own time and just even dropping things that aren't adding the highest value and focusing on the things that
Man,
make the difference. So
that sounds like a very worthwhile book. I should have written it, but instead I'll read it. And thank you for the recommendation. I ask these questions just for myself. Everybody listening in, like, you're welcome if you get anything out of it. These are just questions. I always want to know what the smart people I hang out with are reading. So I like these. I'll ask my friends. I'm like, can I get into your Audible account? Like, will you send me a screenshot of what's been on play on repeat? So I
yeah,
really
I'll
do
say that.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll say that the book Outwitting the Devil is a recommendation because I reached out to someone that I admire and was like, "What books do you recommend?" And he's like, "This is my favorite book of all time."
I love
So
it.
I found that
That's
one.
important. Again, and these are just asking questions to different people in different spaces to hear what they like and what they read, right? I love
Absolutely.
it. Thank you for sharing those two things. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me if you could recommend one money habit for a salon owner to try for 30 days, one thing only. What would it be?
I think a great money habit, especially if you've been struggling with cash, would be to have another business account and just as your money comes in, set aside like 1%. 1% of your
Wow.
money. Just let it set aside.
Everyone can do that. Everyone can do
Everyone
that.
can do that. Super easy. It's like Profit First 101, like the simplest, lightest way to start. And you'll see that you adapt and your business runs on the 99%. And now that 1% is like builds up a little bit. And that will give you a little taste of like, okay, it works. I can do it.
Okay. And if you're anything like me and a lot of other people, you first hear about a concept, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to start setting aside 20%. Like, that seems so insurmountable. But 1%, I mean, I can put $10 in the bank this month. Okay. Like, literally just 1%. I mean, we hope it's more than $10, but you get the idea.
Right. Right.
That's a
Yeah,
great habit. Everybody listening, if you're not doing it already, 1%, you can do 1%. Ross said so. And Ross doesn't lie because he
absolutely.
knows how to outwit the devil, right?
We were talking about core values before. Integrity is one of my main core values. So I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, we talked about that one of our first conversations. So I
Yeah.
really that struck me a lot and had a great impact. So, and I related to that as well. I think that's incredible. If there's anything you want to wrap with, tell any of our salon listeners or other business owners, what's one thing that you wish they knew or understood about profit?
Well, the way my mind started to go when you said one thing I wish all salon owners would know, and this I just wanted to hit is,
Do it. Forget about profit. Then tell me one thing you wish everybody would know. Cut the
yeah, I
rest
mean,
of the question
I can
out.
come back to that too. But I was just gonna say, you're doing awesome. Like the things that you're doing, I just wanted to share gratitude. The salon owners
Hmm.
out there,
Okay.
busting their butts, they're making a difference. Like you are helping people, you are serving. Your team admires you. Like I just I can't express enough how amazing this industry is, and I think the good that it brings. Like I think our society needs this. Like we need to have those safe spaces. Like how many salon owners feel like they're therapists? And that's because of the environment that you've created. That's why your clients are like unloading on you, is because they feel safe and they feel seen, and that's incredible. And so whether that's you or your team that's doing that because of what you've built, that's amazing. And thank you for all the good that you do.
Well done. I think that's beautiful. And I love that. And that's a perfect note to end on, aside from thanking you, Ross, for the good that you do, the work you do, because we can't stay open as salon owners if we aren't profitable. Newsflash, it's cute what you do. We like it that your space is decorated well and that you have a ton of people on Instagram and that you're seeing $1 million a year in revenue. But if you're not seeing profit first, you're not getting anywhere. So reach out to Ross. Where can people find you? This will also be included in the show notes. But where can people find you if they want to work with you or they want to learn just a little bit more about the work you do?
We are True Profit Salons just about everywhere. So trueprofitsalons.com, True Profit Salons on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So pretty easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your day with me today. Thank you everybody for listening in. I hope that you've learned as much as I have from Ross's interview today, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, Heather.
Of course.